My name is Kim. I'm one of the interns, and this is actually my last broadcast ever. I am leaving Ely tomorrow. I was here all summer long. I started beginning of June, and it has been an absolute blast. So if we have any young adults in the audience today, feel free to ask me about this internship program after this broadcast. I'm one of those wearing the blue vest, and please let me know if you have any questions, or maybe if you're a parent or a guardian or a family member of someone who's around 20 years old. This is a really cool chance for them to have either in the summer or the fall. So I'll just go ahead and tell you guys about our broadcasts here while we wait for our bear. So at 12:30, we do offer enrichment for our bears. It's usually a puzzle or some nice tasty treat for our bears. Today, we only have Tasha out and about in our 2.5-acre enclosure. So that's what you folks are seeing here. You'll be hearing JT yell for Tasha. Tasha does know her voice probably the best other than our head bear keeper. So I'm hoping Tasha does make an appearance. Yesterday she came by, but only after, I believe it was like 12:40. And we usually end these broadcasts at 12:45. So I'll probably be talking for the majority of this broadcast, if not all of it. But if you guys have any questions, please ask me. I love when people ask questions. If anyone is inside of our building, I'm located over on the viewing deck right in the middle. So feel free to come on out and ask any questions. I'm sure a lot of you folks went on Tara's tour for that behind the scenes, so it's always a really fun place to be. And we have another one coming up at 1 after this broadcast. So I apologize for any repeat information, but we'd like to offer the same information for everyone at our center so everyone's on the same level of learning here. So for our enrichment today, if Tasha comes, again, we are on bear time here. And so it's not a guarantee that Tasha will come down. Chances are she is foraging on a lot of beaked hazelnuts. They're very large this year and growing all throughout our large enclosure. Our large enclosure here, as you guys can see, is natural Northwoods ecology. So we really didn't change much besides adding this beautiful pond. And our bears are loving having this natural area to go. So my bet is that Tasha's somewhere smack dab in the middle. We actually can't see the middle of our enclosure from really any viewpoint. And that's actually, we actually prefer that. It allows our bears to do completely natural behaviors without having the feeling like someone's watching in that kind of a sense. They do know their names. Some of them have selective hearing, that is for sure. And so it's kind of like young kids. So I'm going to be listening to my radio a little bit. And so far I'm hearing there has been no sign of Tasha yet. So fingers crossed, everyone. I do hope she shows up. But today for our enrichment, we do have a bearsicle, a very tasty frozen treat, just like a popsicle. And so what we do is we take some water, mix that with some type of juice, so either apple cranberry or grape, anything else that maybe some little kiddos here at our center might really enjoy as well. We also throw in some berries, so fruits, and also a bunch of different types of nuts. Bears are mostly vegetarian, so they are omnivores. They eat both meat and plants, but 90% of their diet is plants. So that's leaves and berries primarily. Sometimes they'll eat roots if they can uproot the plant easily. And only 10% is protein. But actually you would think, oh, if it's protein, it must come from animals. Only less than 5% of their diet is actually animal protein. If they are eating other animals, it's actually going to be insects and larvae. It's a little bit different than what a lot of people think. I know it's kind of surprising. When you see a black bear, you see its sharp claws and its big canines and that really strong jaw. But they're actually using those adaptations to tear apart logs. And I see some pointing, so I do believe that we have Tasha on up front here. So this is Tasha. She is our 4-year-old female, and she is now weighing in at 298 pounds. She's almost at that 300 mark, and she really wasn't at this mark earlier in the summer. When I first started, she was in, I believe, the 260s. And I think a couple of days ago, I suddenly looked at her from up above, and I went, wow, she really is close to 300 pounds. She's definitely put on some of that winter weight, which is amazing. We do allow our bears to hibernate, and they will lose 20% of their body weight over those winter months. In Ely, black bears are usually hibernating near the end of October all the way through April. We have a very long winter here, reaching temperatures as low as -50. I think the record of last year was -75. Very, very cold. These guys are pretty smart, though. They'll find somewhere to sleep. But not all bears will den. They'll all go into hibernation, but some of them have open dens. And that's pretty cool. They just kind of find an open field, make a little nest out of the long grasses, and plop down and go to sleep. So they have nothing covering them, no protection from that snow. And actually having snow fall on them is pretty insulating in itself. So if you guys on the deck want to have a little bit better of a view of Tasha eating that bear sickle, you can definitely go into inside and view it from those large windows. She's right near the scale. And if anyone inside would like to come on out, feel free. We only ask that you stay quiet up here. Tasha's very skittish when it comes to sudden noises. She's fine with this microphone, but some of the places you can walk up on here do make some noises, so just keep a light foot, and that'll be a huge help to us. She's the only bear out and about right now, so she's not worried about any other bears, but if Holly was out with her, she would be constantly looking behind her because she knows that Holly is our dominant bear and that Holly is the boss. If Holly came through, Holly would definitely try to steal anything that Tasha is eating because Holly is now in hyperphagia. So that's a state of excessive eating for our bears. It also happens to wild black bears during this time of year as well. August marks the peak of growing season for a whole lot of different plants here in Ely and the Woods. And the North Woods really is northern Minnesota and into northern Wisconsin as well. And so as this is a peak growing season, bears know that soon all the delicious berries that are out there are going to disappear with that first frost. And I'm not exactly sure when that first frost could be. I know we had snow in October last year, very early snowfall. It's even possible to have a frost in September. So they definitely know that weather is going to be changing soon, even though we're sitting out here and it's a pretty warm day. See, a lot of people had sweatshirts on earlier today, and now they're hanging around their waist because it's getting so warm in the sun. The bears know that that's about to change. To quote a popular TV show, winter is coming. And so Tasha here is about to enter her hyperphagia state while Holly is already in that state. And so what this does is that they are much more aware of the food around them. And we do have wild bears that try to visit our fence line. We do have an electric line on the outside of our perimeter fence. And so it deters the wild bears from climbing because they'll get a little shock. I've touched the line myself, and it's not a pleasant feeling, but it doesn't leave a mark, so it's not that strong. Just a little shocking, if you will. And so those wild bears will get a shock every now and then, and it reminds them to go ahead and leave that fence alone. But that means that our other bears, our bears in particular, know that those wild bears are out and about, and they become very antsy because they want to protect their territory. Female bears are the ones that patrol and defend and create territory. Males just kind of wander about, looking for any food they can snag before the female runs them out of their territory. And so as Holly, the dominant bear, she's actually patrolling the territory quite a lot when there's a wild bear out. Tasha here, at only 4 years old, isn't really too concerned about the wild bears. She'll be much more alert, so she'll be sticking her nose up in the air, opening her mouth. When black bears open their mouths and breathe heavily, it looks like they're panting, and in a sense that they are. But they're actually breathing as well, which is really cool. Or obviously breathing, I mean smelling. Oof. It's definitely smelling as well, and that is because they have a secondary organ in their mouth just for smelling. So it's located on the roof of their mouth, near their throat. That's called the Jacob's organ, or the vomeronasal organ. Pick whichever word you like, they mean the same thing, but that is a chemoreceptor, and so it takes in all the molecules around the air and sends them directly to the brain where it can be interpreted by each individual. So when they're opening their mouth to smell, that's what they're doing. With that, combined with their nose, they can smell 2 miles away, which is pretty impressive. They smell about 7 times better than a bloodhound. And for folks who aren't so familiar with our dog breeds, that is our best-smelling dog. Bloodhounds are often used in search and rescue teams, trying to find folks that might have gotten too far off the trail, or maybe were in an accident and they're under some rubble, maybe during earthquakes or a fire. Bloodhounds are a great resource for our first responders, and I like to joke maybe they should use black bears sometime. But I can definitely tell you now, no black bear is going to put themselves in any slight danger. So they would not make good search and rescue animals. They're very cautious, and that is actually because they evolved as a prey animal. They came into North America, I believe through the Bering Strait when it was a landform, during the Ice Age. And so there were a whole lot bigger things around them. For one, the trees were a whole lot bigger. And so, yes, they were still able to climb today, but they would have been much more likely to learn to climb the trees when they were bigger in the first place. But they also had to deal with bigger animals that were much larger than them. You folks have seen that large skeleton inside of our building. That is the skeleton of a giant short-faced bear. That's what scientists believe to be the fastest land mammal to ever live. It could reach speeds more than 40 miles per hour. I believe it's the fastest carnivorous land mammal, something like that. And so that is something that would eat these small little black bears, and so would American lions and saber-toothed tigers. So they had a lot of predators that they had to watch out for, which is why if there's any weird noises that Tasha hears that we might not hear, she kind of looks behind her similar to how a deer would. So they did evolve to be very cautious of the world around them and to kind of assume any interesting sound is danger and they should run away and ask questions later. So that's why it's really important to understand kind of where they came from ancestrally and evolutionary history-wise, because it helps us understand their behavior so much better. We know they evolved as a prey species, so they aren't going to be the ones to run into danger, unlike a brown or grizzly bear. Those guys evolved as predators, so they're much more likely to go investigate something that might be a little intimidating or something new. These guys are more likely to run away, and that is, again, because they evolved as prey. So does anyone here on our deck have any questions? All right, we got a pretty smart group. I'm glad Tasha was able to come down. Looks like she spilled some onto the grass, and so she is using her long 6 to 8 inch long tongue to pick up exactly what she wants. Chances are she's going to leave some of the ice behind. Yes, flavored water is delicious, but what she's really going for is the dried fruits and nuts that are inside of the ice. She had a really cool technique earlier. She was scraping at the ice, trying to break it apart. We did allow it to thaw just a little bit to make it worth her while. She could lick the first part of it that melted. Each of our bears have different techniques when it comes to this enrichment, which is really cool. It really showcases their personalities. So Tasha here is a very persistent bear. That's why she was very great at just scraping away the ice. And let's see, compared to the other bears, Ted, definitely one of our more relaxed bears. If something's too hard, he's not going to do it. So we usually let his thaw out almost halfway, just to ensure that he's getting some goodies and to help him, especially since he's a little bit older. Holly, on the other hand, is pretty much the opposite. She likes the things to be pretty hard to break, and she'll actually turn the bowl sideways and pound down on the sides of it to break up the ice. And that really does reflect her very pounding personality, I would say. She's a very special bear, and she really does take a lot for you to earn her respect more so than anything else. And then there's Lucky. He is our very particularly personality bear. He likes things a very certain way. If we clean one side of his bunker, he refuses to go in because it's not how he left it. And kind of having that same idea, he really is very particular with how he breaks apart his bearsicles. He licks the top until he can loosen all the nuts, and then he takes one claw and pulls out the nut, each nut and fruit one by one, while licking the ice to slowly melt it. So if that's not a Lucky behavior, I don't know what is. So thank you all for listening. I had a really fun time. I've been here at our center from the summer, and just telling people about bears and learning so much from them. So thank you all so much for listening today. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here in Ely, and we do have a tour at 1 o'clock. And just so you all know, your wristbands let you go in and out all day today, and you get $1 off at the Wolf Center. So check them out across town. And with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to JT. Looks like Tasha's heading on out. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the microphone, Kim. Yeah, this is JT, and also on behalf of Sharon and the entire North American Bear Center staff. Kim is the last summer intern to leave, and I want to thank the whole summer crew, all 6 of them, wherever they may be. I know some of them are going back to school and off to other internships and adventures. They were a great group, and I also want to personally thank Kim who spent the last few days, even some of her off days here, trying to train in these new fall interns. So also, she really helped us out a lot, and we got a great jump start on the fall group. So here we are in the Bear Center starting the new group of fall interns, and some of them will be on the mic here in a matter of a few days, I'm really quite sure. They're already working on their behind-the-scenes skills, so no pressure for these fall ones, but I think they'll be on the microphone really quite soon. And thank you all behind-the-scenes folks here that were here for the behind-the-scenes and come to the Bear Center. And thank you all online listeners, especially the moderators who have helped us so far this summer and continue on into the fall. Thank you very much, and join us for dinner tonight, 4:30 Ely time.